Hey loves, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you that are brand new, my name is Candace and welcome to my channel. So recently I did a video that talked about some of the tips that I have for beginning a new IVF cycle. As I told you guys in that video, I started my first IVF cycle 2 years ago around this time in July, and so I did that video just as some advice that I had for you guys that I wish I knew before starting an IVF cycle. So as many of you guys may know, my first IVF cycle was unsuccessful, and so I wanted to do a video of some advice for you guys that may unfortunately experience the heartbreak and devastation of a failed IVF cycle. So that's exactly what this video is going to be about. It is going to be some of the best tips to help you get through a failed IVF cycle. And if you have recently experienced or previously experienced a failed IVF cycle, you already know it feels like the end of the world. It feels like the end of your journey. But I am here to tell you that it is not the end of the journey. It is not the end of the world. It is just another chapter in your book that is being written. So for me to be able to have the opportunity to have lived through a failed IVF cycle and to now have a daughter after a second IVF cycle and be able to share with you guys, it is the most beautiful and one of the most humbling experiences. And so before I get all emotional and stuff, I'm gonna just go ahead and get right into this video. But I do want to just say thank you guys so much for following along on my journey and for supporting me and for watching my videos and for allowing me to pour into you and to give you guys advice and to help you to find your way to your miracle baby. So the first tip I have for getting through a failed IVF cycle is to take your time. I know when I got that phone call from the nurse when our first IVF cycle failed, when our transfer was unsuccessful, I literally felt like the wind had gotten knocked out of me. I felt like the world had ended and I felt like our journey was over. Being a woman, we feel that we have to always be so strong. We have to just keep moving forward and get through things. Don't feel like you need to feel a certain way. I need to feel strong. I need to feel this, because you don't. Nobody can tell you how you need to be feeling when you've gone through one of the most devastating times of your life. And so feel all of those emotions, and going along with that is to find a community. There is an amazing infertility community, IVF community, failed IVF community, pregnancy community, all of that out there that's waiting to support you. I have a great community on Instagram that I have been able to connect with. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, it's My Fruitful Journey. And find a community. Even if you don't want to be open with your journey, you can make an anonymous Instagram page just specifically for you to follow and stalk IVF pages. You can stalk me anonymously if you want to, just as long as you don't get too crazy. But find a community where you can go and you can see real people on the internet that are going through what you're going through and that have advice for you and that have tips for you and that can walk through this with you. And I'm telling you, that's what really helped me in my first IVF cycle, is having that community to support me. So my next tip for getting through a failed IVF cycle is to not blame yourself. And I know it's human nature, when things go wrong or something happens, we always want to figure out who's to blame, because it almost makes us feel a little bit better if we can point the finger and say, okay, you know what, it was my fault because of XYZ, or you know what, it was their fault, it was the doctor's fault, whatever. Don't try to blame anyone or anything, and especially don't blame yourself. Even if everything was perfect in your IVF cycle, there is still a chance that it could be unsuccessful because of the statistics. It's science. It's not anything that's going to be perfect. It's not 100%. And so if you are dealing with a failed IVF cycle, try your best not to blame yourself, not to make yourself feel guilty, saying that, you know, you should have done something different or you shouldn't have done something or whatever. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to feel guilt on top of all of the other emotions that you're feeling as it relates to having a failed IVF cycle. Next tip is to make a doctor's appointment. I know a lot of times people don't do this, or they don't want to do this. You've gone to this doctor, you've gone through your IVF cycle, you found out your IVF cycle was unsuccessful. The last place you want to be is back at the doctor's office talking about why your IVF cycle was unsuccessful. But trust me, after my IVF cycle failed, I was very happy to go back to the doctor, because you need those answers. If you don't get the answers, it's almost like you have all of these different thoughts of, well, what happened? Was it the egg? Was it the sperm? Was it my uterus? Was it that? Was it? But if you go to the doctor and you sit down with your doctor, they sit down with your chart and they go step by step with you about your IVF cycle, I can guarantee you're going to feel a whole lot better, because at least you'll have some type of answers, hopefully, once you leave that doctor's appointment. So that's my next tip, is to make a doctor's appointment, go to the doctor, be able to ask whatever questions you need to ask, and take your questions with you, write everything down. Some of the questions that you should ask the doctor when you go to this follow-up appointment, the first thing is, what happened? Like, why did this not work? That was the question I asked, because it's like, you spend all this money, you put yourself and you put your body through all of this, and then for it to be unsuccessful, you want to know why. Why was it unsuccessful? So ask the doctor, like, okay, why didn't this work? Also, you want to ask the grades of your embryos if you didn't know them before. You can ask about the quality of your eggs and the quality of the sperm. Let the doctor go step by step in your process and tell you what could have went wrong, and let you ask questions. And then the next thing is to ask is, are there additional tests that you can do? So some of the tests that you can ask about is the ERA test, which I did, and I will link my video up top so that you guys can check that out if you've never done an ERA test. And I do believe that my ERA test is the reason why we have our daughter now. And so you can ask about the ERA test. If you didn't do PGS or PGD testing on your embryos, you can ask about that. You can ask about if there is another protocol. So if I were to do IVF again with you in your clinic, what would you do differently this time? That's what you should be asking the doctor, because what you don't want the doctor to do is say, all right, we're going to do the same thing all over again and we just going to hope that it works this time. No. So the next question that you could also ask the doctor is when you can start another IVF cycle again. And a lot of times the doctor is going to say, oh, you can start next month. But you need to follow your instincts, and you need to know exactly when you feel ready to start again. Because if you don't have any more embryos left from your IVF cycle, like I did in my first cycle, you have to do the process all over again. So you want to make sure that you are physically ready, that you're mentally ready, that you're emotionally ready to do this all over again. And if that takes a couple of months or a year or whatever, then I think it's best for you to wait until you're ready than to rush into another cycle and have the same thing happen again. So going along with that tip, I recommend, y'all know I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm nowhere near a medical professional, but from my experience and my success and all of my research, I recommend that you wait at least 90 days to start another IVF cycle. And the reason why is it takes exactly 90 days. Your eggs and a man's sperm is on a 90-day cycle. So anything that you're doing now, any changes that you make right now, it's going to take some time for them to take effect for your eggs and for the sperm. So if you want to give yourself the best possible chance for success, I recommend 90 days. I mean, some people may disagree, even your doctor may disagree, and of course always follow what your doctor feels and what your instincts tell you. But I have a whole IVF success tips video that I did, and all the things that helped me find success in my second IVF cycle that you guys should take a look at. But I do truly believe waiting those 90 days to do a second IVF cycle gave my body time to recover, first of all, from the shots, from the egg retrieval, from all of the emotions, and then it also gave me time to eat healthy, to start drinking my smoothies, which I did another video about the smoothies. I will link up top and down below for you guys as well. And so to work out, to exercise, to do acupuncture, to do all of these things to give myself the best possible chance of success. And I know when you're right in the middle of your journey, the last thing you want to do, or the last thing you want to hear somebody say is you should wait 90 days, because you're like, okay, I just want to get this over with. I just want to have my baby. I'm going to start right away. But I think for the best chance of success, in my opinion, you should wait at least 90 days and get yourself prepared physically, and give yourself the best chance to have the best quality eggs, the best quality sperm, which of course make the best quality embryos. That's just my opinion. I'm just a random girl on the internet, so you don't have to listen to me, but that's exactly what helped me have success. And thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you are not yet a part of my little family, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can join my family, and so that you won't miss any of the videos that I'll be posting as it relates to my journey. If you enjoy this video, be sure to give a thumbs up. And if you have a sister who may be experiencing the emotions of a failed IVF cycle, be sure to share this video with them so that they know that they are not alone in their experiences as well. So I hope you have a beautiful and amazing week, and I'll be back next time with another video. Bye.